Hi, this is Vibrant Scrappy Mania. Today we're going to make a card. I've been making a lot of videos and I've shown you, I have a video where I show you how to create this boot, and I use this Technique Tuesday stamp that I got some time ago. I don't know the name of it. I don't know if it's even available still, but I'm going to use what I used there. I'm going to go ahead and use that to make my card. The other thing that I use is this We Are Memory folder, embossing folder. And I did have a video on using this embossing folder with my new die cutter machine. So I'm going to go ahead and use that to make my card. I also have a video where I showed you how I foil embossed this using the Gemini. And I had a video comparing the Gemini with the Go Press. So I'm going to use that in this card, and then I just got plain black cardstock. So the first thing I want to do is, and then the sentiments with these Spellbinder sentiments. One of the things that as crafters, we have a lot of products already in our stash. So one reason I really don't go too much of, when I show you a project or a card, I really don't go into what I'm using as much. I do put it in the link if it's available if you want to touch on it or want that, but we really don't need to. We got plenty of stamps. We got plenty of sentiments that use what you have. What I want to show you more is a possible design, a possible card that you can inspire you to create your own card using your own stuff. So let's try not to go out there and buy this stuff, even though I show you what I'm using, just for those who may want to know what am I using to make this card. Let's stay away from trying to this consumerism of buying stuff, and let's try to use what we have. So if you find a stamp and you have embossing an embossing powder, if you don't have gold embossing powder and you'll like some, there are some nice ones from Wild that gives you that beautiful gold. So I'm going to watercolor this. I'm going to use this for my background, and then I'm going to cut this out. So I'm going to put in Sending You Strength. You're on my thoughts, Sending You Strength. So I think I like those two. So I need to go ahead and get the die to cut that out. So I am going to use, let's see, should I use a strip die? A strip? Should I use a strip for this? Or a banner? And this is, I think it's a smaller one. And I may use this smaller banner. Maybe Sending You Strength. How about, I think I do like that one. So I'm going to go ahead and tape it. So let me go ahead and tape this. And then I'm going to cut this one out. So let me cut this. Okay. I'm going to put that aside. Put this aside. I'm going to bring my small little sidekick, which is perfect for these sentiments, and just run it through. That looks so beautiful against this. So I'm done with that. Okay. Let's put this back. One thing I don't know if you need to do it, but one thing, if you want to keep your small dies together, I have this from Harbor Freight, which I throw my dies in there. This is it's magnetic, so it holds things. It's magnetic. So I use this a lot. And also I have a pole on the side that is metal where I just put my dies on my, these are for my platforms, so I just put the die on here. So either way, especially if you're crafting with a lot of people, if I'm going to use dies, I buy these. They're very economical, and I give this with the people that are crafting with me because I want them to throw their dies in here so I don't lose anything. You know, you don't want to get frustrated. You want to share your craft with others, but I don't like losing things. And you know, you spend your money on it, you don't want to lose your stuff. So that is one of my recommendations. Okay, so I want to cut this to size. So this measures 5.5 by 5.5 by 4.25. So I'm going to cut this 4.25 by 5. No, I'm going to cut it 4 inches by 5.25. So let's go ahead and do that. Cut it to 4.25, and I'm going to cut this 5.25, and I'm going to cut this to 5. Okay, so that's that, and that looks like it's going to be very nice against this. Okay, the other thing I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and color this in with watercolors, and then I'm going to put this right here, or actually I like this panel, so let me make sure it's nice and straight. And actually let me watercolor it, and then I'll cut it. I might find a die that will fit right perfectly square here, and then I'm going to go ahead and put that panel on here, and I think that will look nice. So let me go ahead and do that, and I shall be back. Before I cut this, I'm just going to go ahead and watercolor a little bit the tulips and the boots, and I think a red color will work very nicely against the green here. So let me go ahead and wet my brush. Now, remember, this is not watercolor paper, so you really have to be very careful of how much water you put here. So I'm going to use this and just put a little bit here and take the excess off, and just slowly and carefully color my boots. And I speed up the video, and here I'm just dropping some color on my boots, and keeping in mind that this is not watercolor paper, so I'm just making sure that I take out any excess water before I put it on the cardstock. And then I'm putting some green because I like the green against the red. And then I'm putting green on the foliage and putting some extra like darker green on the bases of each of the leaves. And then for the tulips, I do the same. I put a wash of watercolor, and then I drop some more intense color on the base of each of the tulips. Then I'm going to take a heat tool. So I'm using a hair dryer instead of a heat tool because I don't want to remelt the embossing powder, but a hair dryer works very well. I want to cut it down, so let's go ahead and make sure that it is evened. It is straight. Just cutting a little bit the edges just to make sure that it is completely straight. Okay, so that's, see, I just cut a little bit. Now it is straight. And you know, I feel like it needs a background of black to make it pop. And I'm gonna look for some of my black cardstock that I was having issues with, like this one, it didn't emboss well. So I'm just going to put this on here. Okay, now I'm going to use my Perfect Layers to just give it a little bit of an edge. Okay, so now with this Perfect Layer, it has a lip. So this is a quarter, this is 1/8. So you have a 1/8 of a border, a quarter of a border, 5/8 of a quarter of a border, and then 3/8. So I want 1/8 for my border. It'll hit the lip of the cardstock, like so. And then you just take your craft knife and just cut along that edge. Okay, and you turn it around, you do the same thing. It kind of grabs the edge of your cardstock of the first layer, and you get a perfect layer each and every time. We Are Memory has this, so I'll put the link if you want it, because you can get it from We Are Memory. Okay, so that's done. The next thing I need to do is I'm going to put this on this, and you don't see the card very well because I have a black background. So let me go ahead and put here this, so that way you can really see how the card is coming out. So there is, right there. Before I put that on, I'm going to go ahead and get my big acrylic, because I'm going to put liquid adhesive. I like to put liquid adhesive whenever I have dimension like this, because it makes contact with the paper better than if I use just regular glue. At least that's how I feel. I feel like using liquid adhesive gets a better adhesion when you are using embossing folders. The other thing is I have some time to reposition it right where I want it. Then if I use the strong adhesive, I can reposition it. Then you're going to put your acrylic block on it, let it dry. I'm going to let it dry for a little bit, and then I'll come back, and I just need to put these two things, and we'll be done with this card. Okay, so we're ready to do the next step, which is to put our panel. And I like, let's see if I like it there, or in the middle. I think I do like it in the middle. And then if I put this here, I think that's the way to go. Now, because again we have some dimension here, I'm just going to use liquid glue on this panel. It will give me time to reposition this where I want it. And then I'm going to put the block on here and let it dry, and we shall be back. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is I want to put a really thin strip of dimensional tape. So I like to put a lot, especially if my strip is long. I wanted to make sure that it's enough cushion So if I mail this, it will maintain its shape, because if you put, for me, I've noticed that if I just put adhesive or foam in each of the ends and leave the middle without any foam, it tends to bend, or when you put it through the mail, it doesn't keep its shape. So I like to do that. That's just personal preference. And then I'm going to put that right there. Right there. And I feel like it needs a little bit like dewdrops. So, let's see. Maybe if this dries clear, so I'm thinking that I'm just going to put a couple of drops around my panel. Looks nice. And let me see. I'm going to add a little bit of iridescent. So I like to put in these little shaker bottles. Just shake it like that. And then put the excess in your trash. And then I think that's good. Good. So let's let it dry, and then I'll come back and show you the final card, because it's not completely dry. So let's dry it. Let's let it dry on its own, and we'll see how it looks. So here's my card. It's nice and dry. Now, one thing that you need to do when you are using black cardstock, it's kind of difficult to write your sentiment inside, so you have to put another piece of paper in here, so that way you can write your sentiment. So I'm just going to take some white paper, white cardstock. I'm going to cut it 4 by 5 1/4. Okay. I'm going to open this up, and I'm just going to place that here, and I'm just going to use regular Earlman dot runner, and I think this one is done. Yep, it's done. So I got another one. Okay, and let's go ahead and put it. The good thing about the dot runner is that you can pull it before it becomes permanent. Okay, so now I have an area where I can stamp my sentiment, and here is my card and with my panel. And I really like how those watercolor accents, like you'll see a little darker at the bottom and a little lighter on top. So there's my card. So I hope you like this video, and thank you for watching. Bye now.